There are so many social media platforms to choose from that most business owners focus their time and attention on one or two. When deciding which sites are best to brand and market your business, you can't forget the visually engaging pins and boards found on Pinterest. There's a few standout ways in which Pinterest varies from other social media sites. While you can follow users and they can follow you, it's not about friends and followers. Instead, it's about generating instant access to engaging visual imagery and informative pins regarding any and every area of interest. These pins can be added to a user's personal boards for future reference. Anyone can access any other user's pins by the category or keywords related to the pin. While each pin can have a bit of text or even a URL, the goal here is not the "here's where I am and what I'm doing" topic of most social media platforms. Instead, a relevant comment regarding the post and what it represents is standard. Most importantly, unlike Facebook and Twitter where your post's peak engagement is rarely more than 5 days or a few hours, pins can continue to show up in search results indefinitely. Now, if you're inclined to stick with the major players like Facebook and Twitter, don't write off Pinterest until you take a closer look at the stats. First off, let's talk about the sheer size of your potential audience. Pinterest boasts an insane 150 million active users. Yeah, you heard that right. 70 million of those are in the US, with 80 million outside the US. As can be expected, Pinterest activity is proportionately astronomical. There are over 75 billion pins, which have been posted to over 1 billion public and private user boards. Over 2 billion shopping pins are posted daily. 87% of users make purchases after seeing products or services on Pinterest, and 93% use it with an eventual purchase, online or offline, as their primary goal. Which makes Pinterest a no-brainer platform for those seeking to sell goods and services to a shopping-minded audience. And 72% of users make offline purchasing decisions based on Pinterest content. So it's not just a goldmine for online businesses. The average Pinterest user session is just over 14 minutes, which is very impressive when you compare that to most other social media platforms. 14 million rich pin articles are posted every day, and a whopping 5% of all web traffic comes from Pinterest. 80% of Pinterest users access the site from a mobile device. So mobile marketing and mobile-friendly content is very important here. And 2 out of 3 pins are posted by businesses or brands, so you've got some competition, which is actually a very good indicator for how profitable Pinterest can be. Oh, and if you happen to be in the culinary niche, guess what? There are over 1.7 billion recipes on Pinterest. As for your audience makeup, 81% of Pinterest users are women, so the Pinterest is for girls stereotype clearly has some truth to it, at least from a market research perspective. But don't worry, if your target audience is males, the percentage of males on the site is increasing rapidly, making up about 40% of new users recently. In case you were wondering, the most popular categories for these new male Pinterest users are technology, food, and drink. Big surprise, right? As for age, millennials are using Pinterest just as much as Instagram. The median age of users is 40 years old, but the most active pinners are under the age of 40. So now that we've established why you should definitely be marketing on Pinterest, let's talk about some Pinterest goals. Establishing marketing goals is critical to the success of your Pinterest marketing. Countless entrepreneurs and businesses have set up a Pinterest presence, made a few posts, and then let it sit untouched for months or even years. This is usually due to a lack or absence of goals. So, before you even begin establishing any sort of Pinterest presence strategy, you need to establish clear marketing goals. Your goals should be specific, measurable, and attainable. They can be long-term, short-term, or a mix of both. Deadlines and milestones can be helpful as well. I want to increase my social following would be an example of a bad goal that will likely result in your marketing efforts petering out after a while, because there's no specific milestones. I want to gain 1,000 likes by Christmas is an example of a good goal. It's specific, measurable, and certainly attainable. Below are some examples of the various goal categories you might be interested in for Pinterest. First up, traffic to website. And here we're talking about sales, leads, or content marketing. Probably one of the most popular goals of Pinterest marketing is to funnel your Pinterest traffic back to your own web properties. After all, most businesses don't do business on Pinterest per se. You're leveraging Pinterest to obtain traffic and convert that Pinterest traffic into brand followers, leads, prospects, and customers. So maybe your goal is to get people to a landing page with a free offer where they can subscribe to your list and become a lead. Maybe they're being sent to a sales page or an e-commerce store. Maybe you just want to do some content marketing and send them to your blog. Whatever the case, the end goal for a lot of businesses will likely be bringing Pinterest traffic away from Pinterest and over to their own web properties. Next up, there's social following, or Pinterest as autoresponder. In this goal category, your aim is to build a large number of followers. The reason we also refer to this as Pinterest as autoresponder is because the main sought-after benefit here is to increase the number of people who will see your pins in their home feeds. In this sense, your Pinterest posts become similar to sending out email broadcasts via your autoresponder. If you grow a large enough community, this can be very beneficial and turn into a huge source of free organic traffic for your business. Next, passive presence. Some businesses might have purely passive goals. Simply being present and discoverable inside of Pinterest is a benefit that has wider appeal and greater utility than you may think. In many cases, a company's Pinterest presence might supersede or even totally replace what was once the role of a blog. Your business's name, logo, a short intro statement, and a link to your website can be found on your Pinterest profile. And depending on your audience, that might be where people are most likely to seek you out rather than your website. Much like a blog, people can see your boards and recent pins. This same approach can also be used for events, communities, and brands. Next up, brand awareness. Another goal that's less thought about might be spreading brand awareness and recognition. If you're just starting out, there's a good chance your brand might be in need of a jump start. If nobody's ever heard of you, a great way to increase recognition is to simply pin and share unique, helpful, or entertaining content and get your name, logo, and overall brand identity in front of as many people as possible, as many times as possible. If this is your goal, you want to avoid being salesy in the beginning. Ensure you're focused almost entirely on posting helpful, relevant, or entertaining content. Next, there's expanding existing audiences. If you've already got an audience, your goal might be to make it bigger. This can be done via several social marketing methods. Pinning or repinning viral content, either curated or created by yourself, can lead to a huge increase in your Pinterest audience. Although creating your own viral content can be great, if you don't have time or the means to do so, you can simply leverage existing content that's already proven itself to be viral by curating or resharing it with your own comments or angle added to it. Also, a few humorous images and memes can't hurt either. Other ways to expand existing audiences can include contests, sweepstakes, and gamification. Assuming your offers and prizes are compelling enough, incentivized sharing can be very effective. Just ensure your methods are permitted by Pinterest's terms of service. After that, there's enhancing or repairing PR. This is a goal that any business can engage in. Non-sales related PR campaigns can include pinning photos or videos that foster positive value and goodwill, or even involvement in noble causes or social movements. On that last one, though, be careful not to alienate half your prospects if the movement is too political or ideological. Did your business recently donate to a charity, or build a school in a third world country? Serve food at a local pantry? These are all things to pin about. These don't necessarily need to be about things that your business participated in. They can be content about general things like a heartwarming video about helping the poor or caring for the elderly. Special holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, or Mother's Day also present opportunities to leverage emotions, foster goodwill, and enhance your public relations. If necessary, PR repair can be done as well. If your business recently had a mishap or did something that caused negative PR, a campaign of PR enhancement like described above can work wonders in improving your public image. Last but not least, there's market research. This is a hugely beneficial goal of Pinterest marketing. If you're just starting your business or going down a new path, Pinterest can be an excellent place to learn more about your audience and your market. This can be done in a structured way by pinning to things like surveys and questionnaires, or in a less structured way by simply engaging with your audience, commenting, asking questions, and so on. Also, lurking or conversing in Pinterest boards related to your industry can teach you a ton about what your customers want and who they are. Beyond that, you can monitor your competitors' profiles and boards to see what their customers like and what they're complaining about, so you can adjust your business accordingly. Creating your own board and engaging within it is another great way to get a constant stream of market and audience data flowing into your business. Ultimately, your goal should be to come up with one or two ideal customer avatars that you can then base your marketing and product development on. All the goals you've learned about in this section require some sort of presence on Pinterest. So let's discuss how to start building that presence.